the mom came to me for anxiety. And I'm like, there's something she's not telling me, right? And I'm like, what is up? Like, what's...
Hi guys, welcome to the Your Lux Lifestyle podcast. And today I'm so excited because I have a personal favorite person here today, Patty.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And I know Patty because we've actually met quite a few times.
We have quite a number.
Yes. She is a sought after, highly in demand transformational mindset coach. She is local here in Miami, and lots of people reach out to her for just, everything mindset, hypnosis. There's all sorts of different mediums that she uses. And personally, I know that when I met you, I was a wreck. I was a mess. I was
You were
definitely a
going through
mess.
some stuff.
I was going through a lot. And I remember when I first started, like within the first few minutes, I would just cry. Right?
Minutes?
Yeah.
Sessions.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I would show up, I would just get there frantic, what have you. And then I think I just felt so comfortable with you. Once I sat down, it was so calm that I just let it all out. And I couldn't even, there weren't words. You're like, okay, relax, calm down. What's going on? I think that's how you always start. So tell me what's going on.
Yeah. Catch
Right?
me up. What's
Yeah.
going on?
I loved it. And it was, what would you say, 20 sessions that we did?
It was probably a little bit less. I don't think it took you that long to really kind of turn it around and grab hold of everything. It was probably like, we're together for like 2-3 months.
Yeah. And I feel like it was a huge transformation. I rave about you. I tell other people about you. Sometimes it's hard to describe what it is exactly that happened.
Yeah. It's because it's weird, right? Like we're not really used. This isn't part of like the regular conversations that we have every day.
Right.
Not everybody has a coach.
Right.
So it is hard to explain, especially when we're talking about emotional stuff.
Right. And you were there for me. It was hard for me to sometimes see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't rave enough about you. So when I was thinking of who I wanted to bring on, I'm like, Patty, 100%. I want to bring on Patty. Hopefully she's open to it. And thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you. Listen, I've been doing this for a really long time, and I promise you it doesn't get old. And it's so rewarding when people are like, you helped me. Like I was in this place and now I'm in this place and you are a part of it. Because yeah, I do this because I love helping people. But at the same time, there's a selfish part of me that's like, oh,
I
high
can
five.
do this.
Like,
Yeah. I did
like
that.
I made an impact. So thank you for sharing that because it's really important.
Yes. So now I want to dive in and get to know, because our sessions were about me.
It's all
right?
about you.
It was all about me. I want to get to know you a little bit better, your origin story,
Yeah.
how you came into this, and what do you see the future is too?
For sure. So I actually moved to the United States when I was 10, right? So my life was like idyllic, mom and dad, brother, sister, school, the whole thing. And then when we moved to the States, it was a huge shock, right? Because I didn't speak the language. I didn't
Where
know
did
my
you
way
move
around.
from?
I came from Chile.
Okay.
So that transition into the United States and watching my parents go through the stress of their transition, being older with 4 kids, actually created like a glitch in my head where I was like, oh, I'm in panic mode. And that was the origin point of where I started to develop anxiety.
Okay.
So as you and I have talked about, like anxiety and like negative emotions, unless we deal with them, they do get worse because the brain starts to collect more evidence. So I didn't really deal with my anxiety. I tried going to therapy. I tried doing different things. I was medicated for a little while when I was in high school. And it never seemed to get better. So I thought, I'm like, this is my life. I am an anxious person, and this is just like what I need to deal with.
You said this is it. Like I have to deal with this for the rest of my life and figure out coping mechanisms.
Right. I was like, I'm either going to be taking medication or just coping with, I don't know, alcohol or doing like stupid things. Right. So by accident, because I used to be in sales in a corporate environment, one of my employees actually gave me a really cool book by Brian Weiss called Many Lives, Many Masters. I'm talking like 2004.
Okay.
And I read the book and I was like, this is fascinating because the book is all about passive regression and hypnosis.
Ah,
And I ended up finding somebody who did passive regression, and we did 4 sessions, not even with the intention of getting rid of my anxiety, just for curiosity's sake, and my anxiety was gone. And I
really?
was like, huh, that's interesting. Because I had studied psych in college thinking I wanted to go into therapy. And then I gave it up because I was like, ah, it didn't really work for me. I don't think that this is an avenue that's going to be helpful. So I didn't do it. That's how I ended up in sales. So then after I had that experience with hypnosis, I got certified to do
So
hypnosis.
the 4 sessions, you're like, "I'm changing my life. This is I wanna
It
do
it was
this."
so impactful. Like I was a completely different person from like 1 month to the next. And as the universe would have it, like I tripped over a girl who was like, I'm doing a hypnosis certification next week.
Yeah.
And I was like,
The
that's
doors
weird.
open.
A hundred
Yeah.
percent. So I did the certification and then I just started working and I haven't stopped.
How did you start working? Like, how did you just announce to everyone, or, like, how would people
So
know?
remember, I was in sales.
Ah,
So
okay.
my job all day was go talk to people and go make friends so that they'll buy something from you. And I was selling tax services, just like the most boring thing in the world. And nobody wants to talk to about buying a tax service. But I had this other thing to talk about now, right? So I started going to networking events and meeting new people. And I was like, "Have you ever heard of hypnosis? Could we, do you want to give it a
It's a
shot?"
good icebreaker, right?
100%
Yeah.
because people are always curious, like, is it really like on TV? Are you gonna make me cluck like a chicken? That's usually the
Right,
opening
right.
lines, which, as you know, it's totally not like that. And it just kind of evolved from there. I started with hypnosis with the regular stuff that people do, like weight loss and smoking
Smoking, right?
cessation and
Yeah.
stop biting my nails and sleep better. And then it evolved into what I ended up specializing in, which is anxiety, right? And that's obvious because it's close to my
It's a
heart because I
personal
lived through
thing.
it.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
that's how it started, like 18, almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And would you say how did you start integrating or let's talk about some of the other tools that you use in your sessions.
Yeah. I think that like many other holistic coaches, once you open the door to one technique, another one shows up, right? And then you master that one and then something else shows up. So I started with hypnosis. I followed it with NLP, which you and I experienced together, like neuro linguistic programming. And then I went into Reiki, and then I went into breathwork, and then I did quantum DNA activations. So just like one thing after the other led into what my practice is today.
And the combination of it all, right? Like, I guess being able to decide, okay, this person needs, because even with our sessions, it was different. Like, it wasn't the same each time. It just depended on what you felt I needed at that time.
Yeah, and there's like an overall plan going on with a client, right? So my philosophy is that all of us have 4 bodies, right? We have a physical, a mental, an emotional, and a spiritual body. So when you came to me with like, here's this problem that I have and
Yeah,
here's this thing that I want, right? Because remember, my first question was, well, what do you want?
right.
Like, let's not focus on the problem. Like, what do you actually want? Then my job is to draw the line from where you're at to where you want to be. And sometimes that road is just hypnosis. But sometimes the road is okay, we need to deal with the brain, we need to deal with the body, we need to deal with the spirit, we need to manage the emotional state. And in order to be able to get all of those pieces to fall into place, we need to use different tools, right?
Mhm,
If I'm changing your biology, the way that your chemistry reacts when you're having an emotional state,
mhm.
hypnosis is not going to be enough. I need to do holotropic breath work, right?
Right,
If we're having some kind of a spiritual crisis where maybe this is past life related, or maybe this is just like an energy that you picked up that's not really yours because you're a sponge and you pick up on other people's things, then maybe we need to do Reiki or
right.
maybe we need to do something else. So to me, it's always what are the obstacles that we're going to run into from point A to point B and utilizing the tools in that moment that we need to be able to go over that obstruction. So, like you said, like all the sessions have to be different
Right.
because if they're not different, then I'm just beating the dead
It's the
horse
same, yeah.
and it's going to help, but it may not actually create holistic change.
Right. Wow. I love it. I love it. And so what would you say, again, from like a more personal standpoint, what would you say is the hardest thing that you deal with professionally and personally doing what you do? Right? Because I would say that, at least for me, I would think maybe it's people not understanding what it is, right? So maybe correcting that, like their train of thought about it, their opinion. What would you
Yeah,
say?
I don't really focus on that much because most of the time when people get to me, they've knocked on a lot of doors. Right. So they've tried talk therapy, they've tried medication. And this isn't a knock on that because I think that that stuff is really valuable.
Mhm.
But sometimes there's other ways to get to the solution, right? So for me, it's that's not the issue, right? The biggest thing, the biggest challenge that I have found, and I didn't even notice this until COVID hit, is that there aren't, in my opinion, at least locally here, enough coaches that are like spectacular at what they do
Okay.
for some of the crises that we're dealing with right now, specifically with the younger kids.
What would you say are the crisis? Some of the crises.
So my experience when they shut us down for COVID was like the second or third week of March. Um, I don't think a month had gone by, and I was getting calls almost every day
Wow.
from moms that were crying like my 17-year-old just got Baker acted. My 16-year-old just attempted suicide. My kid has had 4 panic attacks in the last 3 days, right? And I literally didn't have any space in my calendar. So I
Wow.
was the 2020, I had like a 4-month waiting period on my calendar. And I thought that was insane and
Yeah.
ridiculous. So that it created within me like this like panic of, oh my God, what's going to happen to this kid that I've never met? Because I literally just talked to her mom for 20
Right.
minutes, right?
Got it.
So that has been the hardest thing, I think, because of what some of our kids are going through. And I think it's partly due to social media, partly due to COVID, partly due to like us enabling that younger generation for too long, and letting them be too cozy. I think it's a lot of things that kind of came together, but it's hard to see what some of these young adults are going through right now because they don't have the tools. Um, I think that's been
Would
the
you say
most difficult.
loneliness also?
It's huge.
I feel like that's a huge thing that's happening right now. I feel like more and more people, because of social media, dating apps, all there's less engagement person to person, and a lot of people I meet, they're like, "Oh, I can't find someone," or it's hard to like find new good friends, like quality friends or a partner. But I feel like a lot of people are just isolating themselves, and they don't realize that they're isolating themselves.
Because it's comfy,
Right.
right? Like if I'm working at home and I don't have to get dressed in the morning to go to work and to go like deal with people at an office, I'm becoming more and more comfortable. So my world's getting smaller and smaller. I've always dreamt about, okay, with my clients, I'll be like, okay, like my 10 o'clock client would be really good as like best friends with my 6 o'clock client.
Really?
So that's how I started doing retreats because I was like, I need
You want them to
Isabella
meet
to
each
meet
other.
Maria, right? And I would
Yes.
like invite you two to the retreat at the same time because I'd be
Yes.
like, I think you guys could be friends because Miami specifically
Mhm.
is so full of transplants.
Right.
And they show up and they're like, I'm lonely. I don't know where to make friends. And they start making friends and on the apps and kind of like,
Mhm.
it's awkward. If
Or
you're
what you
40,
think you need, but maybe that's not the right type of person you actually need. And
that's
you can,
another
because
factor
you
for
know these
sure.
people deeper, you can see what it is they're missing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's another factor for sure. So, like, one of the things in the back of my mind is I'm going to create an app just for my clients to like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
make
Like,
connections.
or like a forum or some sort of like
Yeah. Something
group
for people to
chat.
connect. I think community is huge.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea. Okay, so this is a podcast about inspiring high net worth individuals. So I have to ask you a question. What is the most priceless or most luxurious thing that you own or have purchased?
I mean, besides my house,
Okay, yes.
yeah, probably my beach house.
Okay. So you're a real estate girly. I love that.
Yeah, I'm a Taurus, so I like homey, pretty. It needs to feel like home.
Safe space, comfortable.
Yeah, and also like a place to go relax.
Yeah.
I think peace of mind and the ability, having the ability and the luxury to take a step out of life to gain a new perspective. It's a big deal. Like when we bought our house, it was right around COVID. The beach house, it was such a like, like
Right,
we
right.
have another place.
Yeah.
Like a place to like rest, and it also has like a psychological effect of like I'm doing good.
And then we were speaking earlier before we were filming, and you had mentioned that you're going to be doing retreats, and I think you utilize one of your homes also,
Yeah,
right?
one of my homes I use for the day retreats so that
Okay.
people don't necessarily spend the night there. And I have another place where I have the slumber parties where we do like some deeper work.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that means that you've cultivated a space that's safe for people to come and just open up
Yeah.
also.
Yeah. I think it's so important, right? Like, and you'll see, like, when you start coming to the retreats, that there's a lot of repeat offenders. Like, 50% of the people that come are like repeat because they're like, oh, I missed you guys.
Oh,
I miss my
wow.
community. I miss,
Yeah.
being here. Even if they're not necessarily like interested in the topic, they just kind of want to be with people that feel like they feel and think like they think.
I love that.
Yeah.
And okay, so another fun little question, getting to know you better. If money was not an issue, if you weren't doing this, what else would you be doing?
If I wasn't doing this, I'd be hiking.
Hiking.
Yeah.
Where would you be hiking?
Everywhere. But my
Okay.
first stop would be the Appalachian Trail. Like, I
Nice.
just want to go for a long walk.
I never thought that you were a hiker. I didn't know
Really?
that. Yeah, no.
Whew.
I thought you were more of a beachy, right? Like,
No, I'm more like woods and rain.
okay.
Yeah, like if you put me in the
Colorado. I think I remember you saying before
I
that
think
you
I
were,
went to
yeah, you
Colorado
went to
while you
Colorado.
and I were
Yeah.
were in sessions
I was like,
together.
I need you. Where are you? You're like, I'm in Colorado.
Yeah. No, I'm a big into hiking. Like if I had nothing to do,
Okay.
like
Do you have all the gear?
I have
Like you
all
have
the
the
gear.
shoes and the,
I actually did a hiking retreat last year,
oh wow.
where I took a bunch of hiking versions out in the trail for 5 days. It got really cold. It got to like 18 degrees one
Oh
night,
my
which we
gosh.
were not expecting, but I love it.
But you had all the
I
gear.
had
So
all the
you
gear, so
okay.
everybody had
So you
brand
were
new gear.
fine.
It was fun.
Wow.
I love all that survival stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can be an outdoorsy, but it depends. Like I need the right environment, and I don't
Yeah.
know.
What's the right environment?
Well, for hiking, which I've actually hiked before in um Colorado and then Arizona in Scottsdale, True North. There's like a,
Mhm.
yeah, there. But even I went at the wrong time. It was summer. It was hot. I was dying. I went at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah,
Oh.
it was bad. Um, so, and then, okay, so now I want you to explain to the listeners, what is a transformational mindset coach versus spiritual coach, therapist, life coach? Like, what's the difference, and how did you come up with transformational mindset?
So, first, let's make a distinction between what a therapist is in charge of and then what a coach might be in charge of, right?
Okay.
A therapist, you've been to therapy before, right? So, a
Yeah.
therapist is going to help you to kind of understand and work through issues, right? And most of them are going to use some kind of history in order for you to be able to understand and make sense of what's going on in this moment, right? Um, that's not what a coach is going to do, whether it's a spiritual coach or a mindset coach. A coach's role is more of, okay, Isabella, what do you want? Right. So the first conversation that we had, it's like, okay, I get it. You're having some trouble with in this area,
Yeah.
but what do you want? Okay. So if I'm having trouble, let's say with money mindset, right? Let's say that we keep running against a wall where we only earn up to a certain amount, and no matter what we do, we don't move past
Past
that
that.
threshold.
Right.
So that's a mindset issue, right? I'm not going to talk to you necessarily about like, well, how much money did your dad make and how do you feel about the time that your mom told you that you couldn't afford it.
So your history doesn't matter at that point.
It kind of does. It's relevant, but it's not the focus, right? So a coach is going to say, okay, well, what do you want? Well, I want my threshold to go from 500,000 to 3 million. Okay, so now I know where my GPS coordinates are going moving forward, right? So then I'm going to treat you as if that's where we're going,
Okay.
and we're going to put the things in place to get you there. So like, okay, so like we're going to create a strategy of, what's the revenue projections going to be like? What is your business plan? Do we need redo the business plan? But as we're going to it, what's going to happen is that you're going to hit an obstacle. Right? Like, okay, I was doing this thing that was part of my homework assignment. And then I got really scared because I needed to go do this pitch. And like I felt butterflies in my stomach. And in that moment is when we're like, all right, where's that
How do
fear
we,
coming from?
yeah.
Right? Oh, you know what? This actually reminded me of that time when I was 4. Okay, so now it's relevant, but we're not making it about the thing that happened when you were 4. We're still focused on we're going for that 3 million, but in this moment we're changing the association with the emotion of fear.
Okay.
So that's like the distinction, right? So most of my
It's
clients,
results. There's results also,
it's
right?
results, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not going to linger in the understanding because
Right.
that's not the role of the coach. I think it's important, but it's not the role of a coach, right? Most of my clients, I would say probably half of them, if not more, have me and they have a therapist because we do come up with therapeutic topics that result from if we're in hypnosis, if there's trauma, it's going to pop up, right?
Right.
They're going to take that trauma, deal with it with the therapist, and then come back so we can move through it in a different way, right? So I usually work hand in hand with therapists. Um, and a transformational mindset coach, that's the title that we came up with
Mhm.
because my focus for me as a coach is about transformation, right? So it's really about changing people,
Right.
not even changing people's circumstances. So it's about transforming the person. And the origin of everything that we are is in our mind, right? The thoughts that we hold, the mindset, the focus. So
That's
transformational
where
mindset coach is more about like, who are you and who do we need to transform you into?
and how do we get there?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember from our sessions too, there was homework, there was a lot of I would take recordings, right? You give
Hmm.
me certain recordings from the session and then to play it back, go through that. And then also the situation I was dealing with too, I'd say, "Oh, well, I answered this call or I answered this text." You're like, "Okay," So
Walk it
you're
back.
also keeping me in check
Yeah.
also, which I like. And I think that also I think is a distinction with a coach versus a therapist. A therapist is more of just like a listener, right? They listen, they give certain strategies, techniques, but what I like about you is that there's a game plan. And I'm all about like what's the game plan, where are we going with,
That's how
that
I
works.
am, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I work like this because to me, I want to know how long this is going to take. like,
Right.
like
Yeah, you
we,
don't I mean, I'm sure it's great for business, but you also want to help the person. You don't want them to just be with you forever, right?
I don't like, and I'll tell people sometimes people will get like dependent and they're like, oh, can I just do like 3 more months and then I'll leave, and then there's been few times where I have had to have a conversation of like, you're done. Like you're not allowed to come back. You need to go away
Oh,
for like a
really?
year and go live your life. And then if trouble comes up, you can come back for like one session. I'll help you work through it. But I don't want my clients to be dependent on me because that just means that I'm not doing like I'm not getting the result that they
Right.
wanted.
Right.
Right.
So then is that you think part of that is them not actually doing the work when they're not with you?
I think that there's probably an element of both.
Okay.
I'm not, psychic. Like
Yeah.
there's stuff that you might tell me that you did the homework, but nah, like I don't know if you did it,
You're like,
right?
"Okay, I
Like
guess."
I can probably tell based on, like, oh, I called her again, right?
Right,
Like I can
right.
probably tell on in some instances that, homework didn't get done, but also there's pieces. Like I had a client, this is like maybe 15 years ago, and we were working on her mindset to get pregnant. And we worked together for 3 months, right? About how like your body's healthy
Right.
and even though you're 41, you can totally get pregnant. And like we're like our last session, she's like, by the way, I have this like hugely traumatic event that happened to me. Do you think it's relevant? I'm like,
And she never told you that?
I'm like, yeah, it's of course it's relevant. Like we need to like
Yeah,
reframe the whole thing, right? Because it was like the one thing that she wasn't ready to share. So sometimes they don't get to where they're going because they're withholding information. A lot of times because they're scared.
right, right. Or do you think that they're trying to see if you can pull it out of them?
I don't
Have
really
you
have that
ever had that?
experience.
No?
I
Okay.
have had a couple of clients like that, and like I don't play games. So
Yeah, yeah. And so, okay, describe your typical client because I know that you have a lot of successful people that go to you. Um, and a lot of them they have certain things that they've already checked off, right? Like they
yeah.
have the checklist, but they're missing certain elements. Um, why would you say that it one, describe the type of person, like the general demographic of a
Yeah.
of a person, a client that would come to you. And then two, what would you say that particular type of person, so that high net worth individual or that successful person, why do they seek out or why do they invest in sessions like this? And are they repeating? Are they the repeat offenders as well?
Most of my clients are pretty successful in whatever way they all define success, right? Um, I have a lot of business owners, and I would say probably most of my clients are own their own business. and they're successful. So they already kind of know things, right? So they're very good at executing in business, at executing in relationships, at like knowing how to drive relationships and revenue and results. But they get to a place where, okay, I have all of these things, right? I have checked all of these things that I wanted to check off in my list of success,
Mhm.
but there's still something in here that's like there's a hole, right? There's something missing, there's
Missing.
something that's off. And I love those conversations because now we don't have the general fears, right? Where oh, I'm worried about money, or I'm worried about making this, or I'm worried about getting a new job. Like all of the stuff is handled. So they're in a pretty secure and safe place.
Right.
Because when they're there, we can dive deep into okay, well, why are we still not satisfied? Or why are we still not feeling fulfilled?
Right.
Because then those sessions turn into purpose sessions, right? About how is it that I want to live my life in a way that maybe impacts my family in a different way,
Right.
or in a way that it impacts the world in a different way. And I think that that's the biggest piece of like the satisfaction for me is when people give themselves the permission to be able to make it not about them anymore.
Right. It's not about how successful your business is, or, you've reached that, you've accumulated, wealth, or now you finally got married. It's like, okay, but what else is there about? What else is your purpose, or what else are you trying to achieve?
Like, why am I here?
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, clearly, like, we're all here for something, right?
Right.
Like, we don't know what it is. It could be like a weird cosmic joke, right? But I personally refuse to believe that we're here to work, right? That's not it. The work is the vehicle to connections, to community, to wealth, to all of it.
Hmm.
But it's a vehicle. So, like, it's not the purpose. So, what's the purpose? Well, my purpose is to create an impact in this area. My purpose is to, like really connect with love so that I can inspire other people to connect with love at the same time. You can do that and be successful financially, emotionally, in
Right.
all areas of life. But giving purpose to things, oh, it's a
Yeah.
completely different life.
And what would you say again? And are they a lot of repeat? Like, how many people actually come back, or like what's the
Um,
lifespan?
Most clients are with me anywhere from 3 to 6 months, right? And
Okay.
we don't see each other like all the time. Like you and I were a little bit different because
Mhm.
we were working on a very specific thing. So
Right.
we were together like 2, 3 months, right? But most people are with me 3 to 6 months, working on an overall goal. And once we're done, I'm pretty clear about like, don't come back. Like you can come back maybe once a month, maybe once a quarter. Like let's check in. And I stay in touch with my clients.
Right.
Um, I end up being really close with a lot of my clients, like doing business together with some of my clients and just like becoming friends.
Yeah.
Um, so the repeats tend to be around the retreats. Well, they'll be like, I miss you. I haven't seen you in
Okay.
a year. Can I come to the retreat?
Okay.
Because then they still get to do the work
Right.
in a
In
different
a different
setting.
setting.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's good. Um, okay. So you touched on some of the different, there's hypnosis, there's different pathways that you choose. Can you explain some of them?
So the primary tool is hypnosis because it's all about language. Like the composition of the language of the thoughts that you're holding in your head are going to help your body to experience some kind of an emotion, and that emotion is the fuel that drives your behavior, and then that behavior is going to create your results, especially if it's repetitive, right? So hypnosis and neurolinguistic programming are the main components of a regular session. But there's also holotropic breathwork, which you and I experience, right?
Yeah.
Which it's a little bit more in depth. The head does not participate. So we're not talking about understanding things or remembering things. It's more like surrendering all of your awareness into the physical body, right? Because we have memories that are stored in our cells that the brain doesn't have access to. So when we do things like holotropic breath work or like kundalini breath work, we're giving those cells an opportunity to open up so that we can either become aware or let go of whatever is trapped, memories, emotions, anything like that. And then Reiki and things like quantum DNA activations, those are more energetic, right? So then we're dealing with the energetic body, the spirit, and there's energy,
Right.
right? Like, and if we don't address that part of it as
It's
well,
stuck.
it gets
Yeah.
stuck, right? And it does affect us. It's just that we don't recognize it, right? And we might point the finger at something else where really just energetically, maybe we're picking up more than we need to. Maybe we're stagnant. Maybe we're carrying things that don't belong to us, but they belong to, I don't know, our mom or to our roommate. And it's important that we deal with all of it, right?
Right.
But I think that the most important component of all of the tools that I use is the homework piece,
Right.
right? Because I mean, you're going to spend an hour with me, an hour and a half, but you're going to go home with you.
Right.
So doing the homework is critical.
And so one of the things I touched on earlier, you record some of the sessions, and I remember listening back and going over it. And I one day I sat outside, I found like a quiet place. I was sitting on the grass, and it just, it's not just being with you in person, but it's also having that tool outside of the session as well, that it helps. And I was able to, I was going through, a crazy day, having that with me, having that like in my phone that I can listen back. I'm like, okay, so it's like having Patty, extension, right?
Yeah.
So even outside.
Yeah. Think of it. Like if we are 40 years old, our brain has been wired a certain way, and we've gotten feedback about the way that we're wired for 40 years. 1 hour with me telling you that you're amazing and that you can make all the money in the world, it's going to help because we're
Right.
going into the unconscious, but repetition is not going to hurt.
Right.
Right. So if we're going to convince your brain that something else is true, we need to give the brain more evidence, more data. So doing the sessions over and over again, I think is super
It's
important.
key. Yeah. What's the craziest experience you've had with a client? Would it be through the
Oh,
holotropic, or no? Is it no? It's with
no.
hypnosis.
Actually, probably my, I don't know that I would call it crazy, but definitely like the one that made me think like, I had a kid. This is, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. I had a mom. So I was seeing a mom. The mom came to me for anxiety. And I'm like, there's something she's not telling me, right? And I'm like, what is up? Like, what's going
Oh,
on?
you
Because
said that to her. You're
yeah,
like,
because
just
like
be
we're
honest
like
with me.
4 sessions in, and I'm like, something is missing. Like, there's something you're not telling me. And she's like, I'm really worried about my son. I'm like, all right, like, what's up with your son? He was 11. He doesn't have any friends. He just keeps to himself. He's always in his room. And this is like pre-COVID. So I was like this, it's
That's
not a
weird.
normal
Yeah.
behavior for a kid, right? So I asked all the normal questions. Does he have anything going on? Is he on the spectrum? Nothing. He's like a perfectly normal
kid, yeah.
11-year-old kid, but he just wants to read. He makes no friends. People bully him at school. And I asked her to send me a picture, and I was like, all right, I'm like, bring him to me.
Really?
So she brought me her son, and me and another colleague, we did Reiki on him and just talked to him. And so when you do, like, let me back up for a second, like parentheses. So when you do Reiki, sometimes the Reiki practitioner can see things that are in that person's energetic field. Sometimes the things that we can see are like things that are happening today, like you got in a fight with your boyfriend, and like we see it in the energetic field. Sometimes we will see things from childhood. Sometimes we will see things from other people that got stuck. Sometimes we'll see things from past lives. So I'm doing Reiki on this kid with a colleague of mine, and I see images of what I know is Atlantis. And I don't know why I know it. I just know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's weird. I'm making stuff up. Right. And then we finish. And then I talk to my colleague. She's like, I saw Atlantis. I'm like, super weird. Maybe we were telepathically communicating. I'm still like, I don't think it's it. So then the kid's like, all right, like he's like not talking, not sharing. So we talk to the mom. And I'm like, all right, well, this is what we saw. And she goes like sheet white. And I'm like, what?
That means something.
And she's like, she's like, my son, since he was like this big, has been obsessed with Atlantis.
Huh.
Like he watches all the documentaries, has made me buy him all the books from when he was little. And he doodles machines, just like war machines.
Mm-hmm.
And what my colleague had seen was him as an engineer of like war machines in Atlantis. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sheet white. And I'm like, that is so
freaky.
Weird. So we talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I just don't feel like I'm from here. Like, I feel like this is really slow, and this is like, I don't have anything in common with my friend, with the kids from school. But it was just, I just found it to be too coincidental.
Connected, yeah.
That the kid's obsessed with Atlantis. My colleagues saw like war machines in Atlantis. I saw like this weird fountain in Atlantis. And the
Yeah.
kids like, yeah, Atlantis. I'm like, oh my
Wow.
God, reincarnated. So I
Yeah.
think that was like the wildest thing that sticks out in my head. I mean, I've had some weird sessions, but that one was really
Yeah.
cool
Well, also
because
because there's other people involved too. It wasn't just you one on one with it was 4 people in the room
yeah,
and everyone's, saying the same
everybody's
thing.
on the same page. Yeah. So and I actually like she stopped coming.
Really?
Like from that session, she was like, okay, I'm done.
Oh,
And
I thought because of something else.
no,
Like
no, no,
it
she
got
just
too
stopped.
close
She
for
just
her.
stopped. And then
Okay.
like a year later, she shows up at a retreat. Right. And I saw her name and I was like, oh my God. She showed up and I was actually hosting that retreat with a colleague, the same colleague. And she came up to us and she was like, everything changed after that session. He
Really?
became more confident and now we can talk about it. Cause they were also very like, very Christian and anything that had to do with like reincarnation, like it was a
Right.
little weird. She's like, we did some research about past lives and, we talk openly about it and he's so much calmer. And now he shares with us. I thought that was beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And there's like stuff like
I
that
mean, you
that's going
never know
on.
also like what as he becomes an adult too. Like I would be interested to know like what his profession's going to be, right?
Right. Yeah. And kids are the ones that actually remember those things. We forget as we get older, but kids have that a little bit more palpable than adults.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about past life regression. Um who should avoid it?
Um,
Like do you feel like certain types of personalities or maybe you have like a mental issue or I feel like what do you think? So past life regression, just so we can clarify what it is a form of hypnosis as well.
yeah, you do it using hypnosis.
Right.
It's typically will take a little bit longer. You go a little bit deeper, but so I have kind of mixed feelings about it because I love it because it helped me so much. But I also see, as you've noticed, I'm sure in the last 10, 15 years, is like uptick in spiritual practices. And what I'm apprehensive about usually when people call in for past life regression is why? Like, why do you want to
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Right? Because,
Like, are
um,
you taking this seriously? So, okay, it's funny you say that because I go to Bali a lot, right?
mhm,
I love going to Bali. There's this thing there, without mentioning the person who's doing it. There's all of these, again, it's a very spiritual country.
yeah.
So a lot of people have always gone there for yoga retreats and, just a very silent retreats, a lot of that. But now there's this trend where it's like it's actually like a spiritual sexual. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
and
same thing that happened in Tulum.
there's people that are putting on these retreats and they're saying that, we're gonna and it's a groups, it's usually younger people, right? And it's crazy because even the locals are like, you're, defaming and disrespecting our cultures and our traditions here by doing these. I mean, essentially kind of turns into like a group orgy, some of them, but they're mixing in a spiritual element to it. So I feel like you said,
It's related.
you
Yeah.
have to be critical of why people contact you for, for certain things. Like, is this just, you know, do you genuinely like actually need help or is it just kind of like a trend that you're
Well,
interested
I
in?
think that there's a couple things, right? So there's genuine curiosity, which is how I started, right? Which I think is okay. Then there's the what I like to call pop spirituality. Like I'm doing it because everybody's doing it, right? And then there's the sexual aspect of it that you're talking about, which is more manipulation. So I have a really difficult time with it just because the way that I was like my mentor, my teacher, if I know, like she's like literally right here, like all day long, right? Like, what are you doing?
You can hear her
Like I
voice.
can feel her. So she taught me to be incredibly respectful about energy. And when we're doing rituals, like let's take, for example, the stuff that you're talking about in Bali, even if we don't know what we're doing, but we're pretending to know what we're doing,
Mhm.
we're opening up energetic opportunities and
Good or bad, good and
good or
bad.
bad,
Yeah.
right? And if we're not trained to respect energy and to be able to kind of create spaces between what I'm feeling and what might happen, I'm putting myself and other people in danger. Right.
Right.
So I'm sure you've seen this on Instagram.
Mhm.
They have these ads for doing like group breathworks with like 300 people. Have you seen those?
No, no.
The ads are just people basically with blindfolds screaming and crying. Right.
Wow.
You and I did breathwork together.
Yeah,
It was intense.
very.
Can you imagine doing that with like
With
300
yeah,
people?
no, no.
So,
You could wouldn't be able even to focus, you know? It's
well,
like,
yeah, forget focus. Like I have seen stuff come out of people and go home with other people. Like
wow.
you can't, it's energetically, it's spiritually irresponsible, in my opinion. You guys do whatever you want.
Right.
For me, I will never do this. To do something without understanding what you're doing. So understanding the cultural implications is one thing, right? But understanding the energetic implications, it's a huge risk. Huge. Every time that one of these people come into town, and I don't know their name,
Yeah.
thankfully, when they come into town and they do the group hypnosis, I'll get like 2 people that come in. They're like, I don't know, I've been feeling off since I went to this breath work, right? And then you
No.
got to clean them up, which is possible, but it's not always possible.
So how do you vet someone? Like, how do you vet to
Well,
know if
I
this
think
if
it's
the
about
person's
intention.
legitimate, right? And not just like, oh, they're popular online, everyone's doing it.
I think I think that if we stick to if it's too good to be true,
Right.
if it's easy, it's
It's probably
probably
not good.
not
Yeah.
good, right? If it's too accessible, it's probably not good. And also use your common sense. Like if somebody has a certification that they got online from Udemy, like what are you doing?
Right.
Like
Right.
this is your mental health, it's your energetic health, it's your well-being, and you're just going to hand it to some chick because she got like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not even that like how it might affect me as a business owner. It's just I've seen so many, especially of the younger kids, get caught up in some of these things, and sometimes it's hard to come back. And there is a certain level of like
The manipulation,
narcissism,
like you said too.
manipulation, and neurosis that happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that the more that we can vet out whoever we're working with, whether you're going to go see a coach or you're going to go see a shaman or you're going to go see the whatever, do your homework,
Right.
right? Like don't just take the reviews on Instagram as,
As that's what it is.
as what it is. Cause I can pay anybody to do a review for me and like post a video on my Instagram.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything, right? You gotta do this.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Or like you go, once you sit with the person, get a feel for them.
And that's
And
partly why I do my consultations.
yes, and I was just about to touch on that. Before you even let someone on, you meet with them. You're like, I need to see if we're a good fit, if this is going to work, and I think that's really important that you're not it's not just about taking on a new person or just for the money. You want to know that they're serious also.
Well, I want to know that the intention is there, right? So because I do hypnosis, I get a lot of like, I want to stop smoking or I want to stop drinking, right? And those are easy. Or like, I want to lose weight. That's even easier. Okay, so are you willing to do what it takes? So I want you to hypnotize me to not eat chocolate. I can do that. In 3 months, you're gonna eat chocolate again, right?
Right,
Like
when it's
it's
done, yeah.
so like I'm not gonna work on that because like you're not overweight because you ate too much chocolate. There's something underneath that, right?
Right.
And most of the time when people call in for stuff like that, they're looking for like a quick, easy fix. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's real.
Right.
Right. Like I have trouble with alcohol and I'm done. Like it's affecting my life and I don't want to do this anymore. And that's different. But the whole like my wife sent me,
Right.
that's my first clue that like
You
I
don't
don't
even really want to be there yourself.
no, like I don't
Yeah.
want to.
If someone's, saying you should be doing it, yeah, you have to
Yeah, I'm not
decide
going to convince anybody. So I think it's about intention, right? Same thing with past life. You want to do a past life? Awesome. Are we doing it because you were curious and you want to learn? Or are you doing it because you want to avoid the thing that you're doing in this life?
Right.
Right. Because that's also common. Like I keep thinking that I pick bad men and I don't know why I have failed relationships. Okay, well, it's a pattern in this life. Okay, why do we think it's
The past
in the
life.
past?
Yeah.
Like we kind of deal with like the arroz con mango that we have here first before we can go deal with something
Rice
else.
with mango? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Like we gotta
Yeah,
deal
yeah,
with
yeah.
we gotta deal with what you got, and we can go into a past life for sure because there could be an origin there. But at the end of the day, you live here. Like this is the thing that we got to deal with.
Yeah.
That just makes more sense.
Right.
So
And so, as we were talking about like the trends, right? So a lot of people, you know, um, it's more popular, right? Like the more successful you are, you feel like, okay, well, I have to work on my health and wellness. I want to look a certain way. I want to, be at like a great sports club or join certain, memberships, have that sort of thing. Would you say, at least for me, I've noticed that more people they find retreats and, um, different therapies also trendy. Like, I feel like more, they're like, this is now what they need to work on.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into this. So I feel like lately, more people I speak to are curious, interested, trying, they're more open. So it's like, again, it depends on your intention, but they want to find out more about it. But do you think that again, it's because of a trend, or they
I
actually
think it's both. I
okay.
think that thankfully we have so much access to information today that why not open every door? If we're talking in the 1950s, we would be talking about like, you can go to this doctor or you can go to this doctor, right? Like you don't
Right.
have a lot of choices unless you're very well connected in other alternative things, which is super rare. Now, we have access to almost anything. Like you want to do, I don't know, like go to beer laugh therapy, dale. For sure there's a retreat. Like for
Right,
sure,
right,
right?
right.
So to me, I believe and I think it comes from my personal experience. Like if you're struggling with something, whether it's something emotional or something that's more, financial or relational, knock on every door. Like if
Mhm.
you went to a couples therapist and they didn't help you with your marriage, cool. Try a different one.
Right.
Like go to a retreat, go try a Gottman thing. Gottman didn't work. Awesome. Go to like some Catholic retreat. You didn't like that one either. Let's try this other thing. To me, I think that if we have an obstacle,
Mhm.
the worst thing that we can do is be like, this
That's
is my
it. It didn't
thing.
work.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that there is like a huge trend. I think a lot of it is probably fluff, but I think there's some really good nuggets out there. There's some really cool things that are people, and people are just engaging with it more. People are meditating more. People are doing more breath work. They're taking
Yeah.
time to ground and to go be in Mother Nature. Like none of that is bad. It's all
Right.
positive.
And I would say probably since COVID too, more
I think
people
it's become more intense for
are,
sure.
caring about their health and wellness, their mental wellness. So I think that this is also part of it as well.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of the mistakes that people make? So they come to you for a few months, and what are they doing during and then also when they leave?
Um,
Where it's like you did all of that for what?
yeah, I think that probably the top mistake, the thing that gets people to backtrack a little bit more is not starting when you're not ready. So convincing yourself that you're ready to do the thing and knowing inside, I'm not
This
really
isn't
ready
yeah.
to take the leap because you're gonna do it, but it's gonna go against the place that you're really in. You're trying to fit like a round peg into a square hole, So it's gonna be an uphill battle, right? Which is gonna discourage you from doing the
For moving
homework
forward, right?
and following up on the things that we need to follow up. I think during a clients make mistakes, obviously. Like the simple ones, like I forgot to do my homework, right? Another one would be like, not communicating. Like if I ask you to do, you were pretty good about this. Like if I asked you to do a homework assignment, you're like, I don't think I want to do that,
Right. Or
Like
I did admit a few times, I'm like, no, I didn't listen to it, or I didn't. Yeah.
right. And that was more like the conversation you and I would have is more about like, well, what got in the way? Right.
Right.
Look, you know what? I wasn't feeling it because I actually had done this other thing and it made me feel better, or I did this other thing and made me feel worse. So then we would kind of work through that. Right. So I think during it's really important that if you're hiring a coach, like
Mhm.
for most coaches, it's not a small investment.
Right.
Like do the work. And if you're not going to do the work, at least be honest about it. Because if not, everybody loses. Right. And then post, I think there's a couple things, right? Sometimes when we advance and we take a couple steps back, we feel shame.
Ah.
I invested
Yeah.
all that time, I invested all that money, and now I'm back, right? So, not reaching out when you take a couple steps back is also a mistake because most of the time, if you've done the work and then you were good and then you fall off the wagon in, 6 months later, that's the moment to reach out and to be like, hey, I screwed up. I have these
What should I
12
do? Yeah.
audios that you and I recorded and these 12 homework assignments. What do you recommend? Because you getting back from here to here after you've done the work is faster because you already have
You
a
already have it
framework
there,
for it,
yeah.
right? So I think that like not reaching out if you make a mistake once you're done, or thinking that like, okay, this girl never wants to talk to me again, like just reach out. We're all human beings.
I could see that. I mean, especially if, again, if these are successful people, or like even with me, like it's, I want things a certain way, I'm a planner. And so I would feel maybe embarrassed, like, oh, by the way, I picked up the phone, or, whatever it
Yeah.
is, and you just have to be vulnerable and take accountability. And I did with you. I was like, okay, this is what's happening. Because I felt like I'm getting the most of it by just being honest with you.
It's the only way,
Yeah.
right? Because if not, then now you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with. And on top of it, you got like a layer of shame on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So why? It's open communication. I always talk about that. Just talk. Just ask for help if you need the help.
Yeah. Okay. So what is next for you? I know you said that you talked about the retreats that you're having. I know that you also certify people as well. So what's the future of Patty?
Changing the world?
Yeah.
So I started certifying coaches in 2020 because of that whole, like, I don't have enough hours in the day to help people. And now I'm taking this and I've connected with a partner of mine. And we're bringing emotional well-being with the structural and financial well-being into corporations together. So our whole idea is if we heal the individuals, we heal the companies. And most of us are spending, most of our waking hours in some kind of work environment, right? And corporations are where the money is, right? Because they're the engine that fuels the capitalism and that allows things to happen. And there's a lot of people in corporations.
So this is like company morale. When you say corporations, what is it?
It's doing the work that you and I did within companies. So getting to the root of the problem, like really to the root of the problem, healing people. So it's not about like, we're going to do like a mindful 10 minutes, in order to get our cut from our insurance. No, it's about like reshaping a company completely from the ground up and from the top down so that we can have healthy individuals working and running in healthy companies.
I love that.
And that's how
I've never heard of that either. That's like a unique.
We literally just
make sure you
this.
you patent it or whatever.
We're working
no one
on
takes
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now we're in the phase of like I'm training the coaches.
Okay.
All right. So training the coaches so that they can go into these companies and do the work that I do.
I love that.
I know.
And then the retreats.
The retreats are kind of always ongoing. Like I told you, I don't love to work in the summer because I like to do a lot of my work outside.
Right.
So my retreats are typically from like November until like April.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they vary from overnight retreats to day retreats.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything. Some of the day retreats will be like a whole day of breath work. Some of our deeper ones, we'll do like family constellations and we'll do channeling. We'll do deeper work because we have more time.
Okay.
But yeah, from the very light into like, let's do a past life regression together to like, let's jump in at the deep end of the pool and like really rip some Band-Aids.
I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Patty.
Thanks for finally getting to know each other like
I know,
a little bit more balanced.
Right. Because again, every time we met, it was about me. And now
that's the nature.
Yeah, I got to know you better and I love you even more.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love you too. Thank you.
And guys, stay tuned for the next Your Lux Lifestyle podcast.